If you're thinking about being a stay-at-home dad, there are 3 boxes I think you have to check. First, you want to be a stay-at-home dad in the first place. In my case, having kids was something I was very much looking forward to in life, and getting to spend as much time as possible with my child and then children was something I saw as just an amazing opportunity. But if the desire isn't there on your part, you're probably not going to last long in the role. Second, some ability. If you're thinking about doing this, I would assume you feel like you have some built-in skills to make it happen. Patience, empathy, playfulness, a love of children. All those traits make the job much easier. Now, hopefully your significant other is also adept and can handle the load when needed, but my guess is that for some of you, there might be a comfort level that you have that maybe your partner doesn't, and that's a reason why you're thinking of taking this responsibility on. Third, your significant other is able to earn enough to provide for the family, or you have enough savings to get by. It goes without saying that it's probably a good idea to look at your financial situation in advance and make sure that if you are to give up work entirely, you can still pay your bills. That's not to say you can't work and be a stay-at-home dad, especially in this day and age, but I think it would be most prudent to prepare as though you aren't going to be providing any income for the family for a period of time. We'll talk about working while being a stay-at-home dad in another video. Now, if you can check these 3 boxes, I'd say you are most of the way there to making this happen. So, what are you getting yourself into? I'll start with one of the most profound things about being a stay-at-home dad. You are going to become the leading expert on your child. You're going to play the primary role of caregiver, teacher, and playmate for the first few years, or maybe their entire childhood. You're probably going to learn to understand them better than anyone else. And during that process, you are going to develop a bond of trust, care, and love that will hopefully last your whole lifetime. I firmly believe that bond should always act as your guiding principle as a parent. We'll talk more about that in a later video. Now, beyond the serious stuff, one funny thing I found about being a stay-at-home dad is that expectations are set just absolutely ridiculously low by pretty much everyone else. So if you do anything right with your child, you have already cleared the bar by a good amount in the minds of a lot of folks. That's an enviable position to be in for any job. The key, of course, is to completely disregard those low expectations and kick some ass as a parent. And that's definitely the goal you should have as well. Now, it's easy for me to look back at my time as a stay-at-home dad and when the kids were young and miss those days of pure joy and amazement, but I also have to say there are plenty of days of pure hell. I can certainly remember a few days just counting down the time to when my wife would get home so I could hand her the baby and run as far and as fast away from the house as possible. So what can cause that? For me, lack of sleep was and remains the #1 factor in my overall demeanor. If you aren't sleeping, everything just becomes exponentially worse. We'll do an entire video on sleep. If your child is sick, it can be heart-wrenching. Sickness can mean more sleeping on their part, but it can also mean more inconsolable crying, which is hard to handle. Make sure you get to the pediatrician's office and get whatever is needed to help the little one out. Having a child will undoubtedly introduce a new dynamic in your relationship with your significant other. Hopefully, it brings you closer. But even if that's the case, you'll have to navigate some difficult times. They might feel pressure as the sole breadwinner. You'll feel pressure to make sure the children are safe and happy. You'll both be tired, at times frustrated, and worse. I'll do a video on this topic as well. There will be smaller stuff, messy homes, accidents of all varieties, misunderstandings. Here's where you have to do your best to find a balance between addressing things that matter immediately versus cooling off and talking about what can wait at an agreed upon later time. Overall, being a stay-at-home dad has been an incredible experience for me, and it's led me in a personal direction that has helped me mature, become more wise, and I think that I've led a life that I'd say has gone mostly against the grain. And that last one is one of the central benefits of being a stay-at-home dad. you are going to learn to look at life slightly differently than most, and that will open you up to some wonderful opportunities and possibilities. That's it for now. Hope this helps you make a more informed decision.